I've been helping survivors of sexual abuse get compensation for a long time. I've heard incredibly tragic stories, and I've seen firsthand the very significant damage that can result from that type of abuse. Where that damage is likely the result of being sexually abused, then you are entitled to financial compensation. One important question then is, what is a survivor of sexual abuse entitled to be compensated for? How do you put money on that type of harm? First and foremost, a survivor is entitled to be compensated for his or her pain and suffering. This looks at the impact of the abuse on the survivor's quality of life. Have you suffered from depression or anxiety? Have you had difficulty maintaining personal relationships? Have you had to turn to drugs or alcohol to try to cope? All of these questions and many more are relevant to an assessment of the amount of a pain and suffering award. A survivor of sexual abuse will often have his or her education or work capacity altered by the abuse. It's well known by experts and psychologists that these survivors are prone to dropping out of school early, which sets them on a life path where they will earn significantly less income than if the abuse had never happened in the first place. Survivors are entitled to be compensated for this lifetime loss of earnings. The final main category of compensation is something called cost of care. Most survivors of childhood sexual abuse will need some form of therapy to help them recover, or at least to cope. This can be really expensive, and it's a cost that forms part of a civil claim for damages. If you are a survivor of sexual abuse, and if you have questions about compensation that you may be entitled to, just give us a confidential call, and we'd be pleased to talk to you free of charge.